So this is a do-it-yourself video. Sometimes you got to patch a hole in a wall. Small hole, big hole. There's different ways to do it. I've been fixing houses for like 20 years, so I'm just going to show you a quick and dirty way that I use to rapidly fix, pretty nasty looking holes. What we've got here is holes from those large anchors. You might see them. They look like a giant screw. You screw it into your drywall, and it'll hold like 25-30 pounds per anchor. So that's great for shelving. However, once you remove your shelving, you've got some massive freaking holes. Now, the thing about these kind of holes, okay, I'll just focus on this one hole here, is that the screw, when it goes in, pushes the material away, and it frays the edge, and you end up with a kind of a raised lip around it. So if you were to just spackle that, one of the problems is that the hole goes straight into a cavity. So your spackle's going to go into a hole and disappear on you. Or in this case, we're going to use 20-minute fast-setting joint compound, because that's what I prefer. Now, unfortunately, this razor blade is a little dull for this work, but what I like to do is, without going totally nuts, is to make a cone shape. And what this cone shape will do is, this cone shape is going to let your joint compound or spackle or whatever, I'm trying not to get in the way here, guys, so you can see, you just make a cone. I'm using a utility knife. I should probably run down to the shop and get some fresh blades. These blades are really dull, and they're not helping my progress here. Oh, yeah. But it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get rid of the raised edge so that there's no little things sticking up. Okay, that's one. Okay. I'm going to show you my quick and dirty way of doing this, because I've been fixing stuff like this for a long time. Anybody that has anger management issues knows all about fixing holes in walls. But these are relatively small holes, not the size of your foot or your head or something, right? Okay, so what you do is you take a little strip of newspaper, okay, you ball it up into a little pellet. No big deal here. The only purpose this has is to make your spackle or your joint compound or whatever it is you're going to be patching your wall with not go oozing into the back of the wall. Okay? But you don't want it to be extended before it. So you can test fit your little pellet. If it's not big enough, you wrap some more newspaper around it until you get it to the size you want. This is actually going to be harder than the actual surrounding drywall by the time I'm done with it here. Got a little ball of paper from the strip. Okay? Alright. Looks like I'm going to have to use my whole strip. So I must have guessed right the first time, huh? So now we got our little pellet. It's better if it's a little bit cone-shaped so that when you insert it, it gets stuck. And you push it in so it's below the surface. So there's your prep. I just wanted to show you something in case you hadn't seen how I did it. You might think you could just crumple up a piece of paper just sort of randomly and stuff it in the hole, but there's actually a method to the madness. You want to keep changing the direction as you're rolling your strip of paper. This will help it stay together. Okay? You want to squeeze it with your fingers to kind of make it into a cone shape. And then right before you're ready to stick it in the hole, okay, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the way that you're sticking it in there isn't going to have a tail of paper sticking out on you, because that won't work. Alright guys, this isn't, rocket science, but this is quick set light. It's 20-minute set time joint compound that you'd use for, putting up drywall. I got some drywall knives, okay? Drywall knives, in case you don't know, have a slight curve to them, and if they don't, you should put a slight curve in them so that they work right. And when you look down the knife, you're going to see that it's curved, and that's so that it leaves a bead of material. Nice little curve to it. Now for this, we're going to be using the smallest knife. This is a mud pan. Okay, it's what you can mix your mud in a bucket if you're making a huge amount of it, but in this case we're making a small amount of it. So I'm going to get this front and center so you can see how I'm going to do it. Now, just to make it easier for you guys, I do it by eye. I just add water and mix until it looks right to me. But to make it a little more scientific, a little easier for somebody who hasn't done this before, this stuff is a giant mess just waiting to happen, by the way. So, take that into consideration before you open the bag. Open the whole bag up so I can get my measuring cup in there. Normally I would just tear the corner of it and I would pour a little bit out. But I want to do this by measuring just to get some sort of ratio set up. Okay, so here we've got one measure, whatever size you want to use. Okay, I believe this is a half cup in this case, doesn't matter. And now what I'm going to see is how much water it takes to make that. Now I think 1 to 1 isn't going to be good at all, so I'm going to put 2 measures of this and 1 measure of water, and let's see how that goes. See how a 2 to 1 ratio starts out for me. Use room temperature water. Okay. Let's see. Okay. And the mixing process, you don't want to get it all over, but you basically go back and forth with it. Just back and forth. This kind of motion. Okay, this is looking very wet. Okay. Oh yeah. That's way too wet. So it looks like it might be a 3 to 1 ratio. I want to get the mix wet. I'll dry this out. Like a man dries things out on his shirt, right? Another measure of this. It looks like it might be a 3 to 1. Oh yeah, it's about a 3 to 1. Okay, so that'll be easy next time. I'll know what to do. You want it stiff, but you don't want it so dry that it won't bond. So we've just about got the perfect consistency right now. And what you can do to smooth it out is you work it on your pan. Okay, and if you need to add a sprinkle of water or whatever, go for it. But right now, this is really nice and stiff, just the way I want it. Okay, seems like it mixed up pretty well. That's your basic technique for applying. You find your curved side. That's the side you're going to run against the wall. Okay? You get a little blob of this off. You get rid of the material you don't want using your mud pan. Okay? And let's spin around. Let's have a look at this wall. Okay? You guys will be able to see me working these holes. So, when you're applying any kind of spackle, joint compound, whatever, you're moving. I usually move in an X, okay? And that's it. That's all you have to do. Don't go over it and over it and over it. It doesn't help. Don't put more than you need. It doesn't help. Okay? And I'm going to do an X. Okay? The only reason I went over that was to get this extra off. That's a little bit low. You got to make sure you push down almost flat and then lift up. We can sand all the rest of that off. I'd rather have it sticking out proud. Okay, that's sticking out like a bulge. It's going to shrink in a little bit. You can do the same there. You push almost flat, and off you go. It's really, like I said, not rocket science. Okay. Okay, just want to make sure you don't have too much. You don't want to make a giant amount of dust sanding. But you also don't want to keep putting more and more layers of this stuff on. As long as you're not going more than about 1/4 of an inch deep, it'll dry fine. That's why I put the paper in there. Okay? Yeah. Okay? And that's how it works all the way around. I'm just basically going to go all the way down the line here. Just a little more so you can see the rest of it. It goes super fast. Now, this material is going to dry in 20 minutes. You've got to get it out of your mud pan, and you've got to clean your tools before that period. If you don't, you'll wish you had. Okay? Just trust me on that. Okay? And see, the reason for doing an X is that if you don't do the X, you're not going to get a full fill. And it's going to have cavities or gaps. I made way more mud than I really need, which happens. It's $10 a bag, so I'm not too worried about it. And that bag will do all the repairs I need to do, and then we'll have some left over that I'll either have to move with us or throw away, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay? And what I'm looking for is a little bulge over each hole. I just want a bulge. I don't want a giant amount on the wall around it. That's why I'm going and cleaning it up afterwards. But if it gets too low, I'll come back and I'll leave a little blob over it and I can just sand that down. I don't care. Now you can sponge it down, but I prefer to sand it down because sponging it gets it wet again. I don't want to get it wet again. Okay? And that's it. That's how you patch holes in a wall. Now we're going to come back later. Okay? When we come back, I will show you how to sand it with a screen and a screen holder. And it goes really super fast. But just to give you kind of a... See, that's really sticking up a lot more than I need. But it sands down super fast. Not too worried about it. That one might shrink below the surface. I might have to touch it up. I don't want to do that. I would rather have each one have a little bit of a blob than to have each one getting filled over and over and over and turning this into an all-day job. And it's just a few minutes of work to really get her done. Yeah, I'll just sand that off. Like I said, I'd rather have it high than low at this point. Alright, now I got to go clean my mud pan out. I don't have a whole lot of other places to stick mud. Alright, back to more drywall fun. I know this is fascinating, but it is an RC. So, hey, variety. This is a screen. It's like they call them grills or screens or whatever you want to call them. It's sandpaper type material that's been bonded to a fiberglass mesh. To make use of this, really, you need this. It has a foam backer. It's perfectly flat. And that's the idea behind this, is to help you get your stuff flat. I hope this is not going to be a big pain in my butt. Here we go. So you just put it on your thingy. Doesn't look like I got enough nubbiness to grab it, but maybe so. Alright. That's it. That's very high tech. Alright, let me spin the camera around. Show you some more boring stuff that I have to do because I'm the kind of guy that does the boring stuff around here. Alright, yeah, that wall looks really fascinating, doesn't it? So, we got nubbies. Nubular things, okay? You don't want to scrape up the whole wall. It's painted. The thing doesn't sand paint that well, right? That's it. Isn't that something? Hard to believe that it's that easy. It really is. I don't know if the camera is going to do much for us here, but we'll stare at the nubular nubbiness of it. See the square kind of ridgy. Here's drag. It's better to go with the rounded part, back and forth, huh? Alright. And I could skim some more over that, so it isn't so circular looking. But a little polyvinyl primer, a little PVA primer, and you'll never know it was there. I'm going to put some top coat over that, and by that time you have enough mill thickness that you've hidden all these tiny little irregularities. So that's as easy as it gets, guys. If you got the right tools and the right material and the right technique, tedious things like sanding drywall are not really that hard. And right in here I got a little area that has some dents in it. Again, same thing. I'm sorry. Same thing. Oh, that was fascinating. Okay, you could do this drunk. You could do this high on OxyContin. Now I know this is because there's a lot of drunk guys on OxyContin doing this. Boom, boom. So, you know, I got more stuff to do, but I got to let that dry. But I just wanted to show you basically how easy it is. And then the material that gets loaded up on the screen, you just tap it right out of there, and this will keep going and going. You can use one screen for an entire house, basically, almost. Okay, guys. That's it for drywall repairs. We're not going to get into painting and priming and all that crap. I think you know how to, right?